Okay, so this is our first live podcast, and it's most likely not going to get published, so it doesn't matter. And if you see this, then it went really, really well, which is very unlikely. So you're not seeing this, you're most likely hacked my computer, and that's the only way you see it. but yeah, we went like for a run, and then we just started talking. Then we kind of run out of time a bit, so we just do this a little bit, just go through some topics, and then let's see what's going on, and then just part of the podcast will be just trying to figure out the topics, which is not that interesting, but at least it's something. So desalination. Okay, let's just open it. Let's not do it too seriously.
Okay.
What do you think
water,
about
water
desalination?
everywhere, and
You'll
not
have
a
to
drop
like
to drink.
explain
Humans
to me
need fresh
what
water,
is
and getting enough.
desalination. Is
Oh.
it like making seawater fresh?
Yeah, so this is a very, very interesting topic. It's something I've been investigating a lot because, like many countries around the world, do not have fresh water enough, and they have to desalinate ocean water, like
Yeah, take out
Desert.
the salt. Yeah,
desert countries and so on.
usually desert countries. Yeah, because they like to get to the fresh water, they have to dig like really, really deep wells, and the irrigation channels are like very difficult to make. And so, what does the process entail? Do they like take the sodium outside of it and like chlorine and like because that looks like a nuclear power plant.
Okay, so I did some investigation on this. So there are two basic ways to do desalination, and they're very energy intensive. So one way is an elaborate way of burning it. So it's similar to just you take a pot, you put some water on, seawater on it, you boil it until it separates, but it's just on an industrial scale.
Okay.
And it's also very scalable, but uses a lot of energy. And the positive is when you have like a lot of sun. So that's the best case scenario. It really makes so much sense. You have like a desert. You take out the ocean water. You have a lot of sea, shore, and you take out the sun energy. And then you combine the sun energy and the water, and you get fresh water. So that makes so much sense if it can be scaled.
So you use the sun energy
Yeah.
for the
This,
evaporating process.
Yeah, but it's more complicated. It has like reactors and stages.
Yeah, it probably has some. I'm just like thinking in my head. There was this, I think, was solar power plant, somewhere in American desert where they have like this. I don't know. It's some sort of like a receiver or a pylon in the center, and there's like many mirrors. Concentrating the heat onto that pylon, and somehow it like generates thermal energy, I think.
That concentrates it. But here we desalinate as well, because why I started to look at this because I kind of just lately just looking a lot on Google Maps. I think it's one of the best things to do in your free time. You just because it's the whole world. You can see like everything. You can go and you can check out Google Street View and.
Yeah, I'm like to be honest. Like sometimes when I get bored at the work, I like sort of start traveling. And like the recent time I went through the whole of Russia and Siberia. And I was watching.
I haven't done that.
Like the most eastern parts. Like how do they look? Do they have street view?
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. So I was doing the same, but I was here like last year, and now I've been here, and I'm kind of like looking like there are some islands here. So I started to check like what's happening there, and it's called Cape Verde, and they do these robocalls and try to steal your money from there.
So if I understand the translation correctly, it's like the red cape.
The green cape.
Oh, Verde was green.
The green cape, and that's because they have some green stuff, but they have a lot of problem with water. They don't have enough fresh water.
Okay.
There's capital islands entirely, like almost.
Oh man, it looks like Iraq or something.
Yeah, it doesn't look that good. But if you go here to the middle, it actually has water. It's because, like the mountains, they preserve the moisture with their elevation, and also they have perspiration because of. Also, some of there's vegetation, and it all preserves the water. But lately, they're having a record big drought. They don't have any water. So I'm just kind of using my own fantasy. I'm like, why couldn't they build like a huge desalination plant? Like and put
on the island.
Yeah, on the island. Let's invest a lot of money. They have enough sun, so they're not on the equator, but they're not also that far away. Like they're only 1,500 meters away from the equator, so 1 degree is 100 kilometers. so they're pretty close to the equator, and they have a shortwave solar energy all year round. So we go to like Cape Verde, and we go to this Weather Spark, which is a great website for weather, and they have this chart at the bottom for solar energy. So yeah, so you can see that they have a stable amount of solar energy all year round, which is good enough.
Okay, so that means they can harvest that solar energy
Yeah.
to desalinate their seawater.
Yeah, and so I was thinking, why don't they do it? Why is it so like difficult?
But isn't like the name sort of implies it because they have a lot of greenery, so that means that they have like underground water sources.
Oh no, that was the problem. They have a record drought, and their underground water sources are depleted.
Oh.
And that's why they have a record drought. They have food problems because of that. They have to import their food. Because basically I wanted to travel there, but I don't want to travel to places which are unstable. So I'm like, well, I want to travel there, but these guys need to get their stuff together because I don't want to be killed there.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like, how do I fix this? And so here you can compare to Riga. So actually in summer, even right now, we're doing pretty good with solar. Like during these
which
months.
is Riga? The green one.
Yeah, so we can actually use solar. It's almost good as being on almost the equator. But here, we're not doing that good at all.
Yeah, because we have winters and like winters aren't that. Is this like solar energy?
Solar
yeah.
energy.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah.
But they're doing really well in the winters. So it's almost completely stable compared to Latvia.
So interestingly, are you? Do you consider yourself a sort of southern kind of person or more of a northern kind of person?
Well, I think better northern.
Better northern.
Because I looked how is like climate in like Thailand or Indonesia, and those guys are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like muggy all the time and hot and.
The what? Smuggy?
It's called muggy. It's when it's very humid.
Ah, I didn't know that word.
Yeah, I didn't know it either. We don't even know the word because we don't live there. But
Wait.
it's a word.
I thought you were like talking about that spice muggy. Oh, MUGGY. Muggy.
Basically this, I guess.
Oh, okay. I'm liking how that Fallout robot like sort of jumped out on you, wrote muggy.
So they actually have a chart here for that chance of muggy conditions. So in Latvia, we complain, oh, we can't breathe, it's so hot, humid in the summer. Yeah, it's only 6%. They have a 100% humidity. Imagine how bad is that. We would not be able to survive that.
Okay, so I gotta tell you, like, I went to Malaysia, and like I went for a run in the city, and it's like crazier than England. If you've been to England, the weather conditions are like unpredictable, like, and they can change in half an hour. And in Malaysia, I went for a run, and it was like it's humid all the time. And after a while, you sort of feel how heavy the air is once you breathe all that like moisture inside. And I noticed after like for a couple of weeks being there, like no one runs. Like there are absolutely no runners in the street.
How do you type that? Type in Malaysia in English. Malaysia.
Malaysia. I think that's the one.
Oh, so it's like this.
Okay, and so why I asked you, are you a southern or northern kind of type of guy? In our university, in our statistics course, we were learning about correlations, and there was this simple correlation which doesn't imply causation, of course, but there's a correlation between how northernly you live and your income level. So the more northernly you live, the more income you have.
Yeah, we had a similar thing in, maybe, I don't know, maybe we already discussed that, or maybe I discussed it with somebody else, but I don't remember. But there was this Kiber training, and there was a correlation between multiple countries, like Kiber training, and the more Nordic you were in a country, the better you got the rating on average on your keyboard performance.
Oh, yeah, you told me that after
we talked about
your training.
So it was similar. Yeah. So Malaysia is crazy, but the water temperature 29 degrees all year around.
I hated that. I really
didn't
hated
like that?
No, you couldn't you couldn't cool down.
Oh.
Man, I went to the beach and it's like very humid, and you go into that warm, salty, like ocean water, and it's like it's very the salt clings to your skin. That's the first one, and you can't cool down because the water is almost as warm as outside. And it was like I can't describe how like eerie it was.
Yeah, I'm afraid like Rita would like this to get that climate. I have the feeling, and that's why
A lot of girls like fantasize about living in Spain or Italy and Greece, and like I'm like, no, thank you. I want my winters.
So also, I really like this portal. I use it a lot. I use the Google Earth or Google Maps, and then I go here and I compare. And it's really interesting to see how like the difference. They have like all year around, warm or comfortable.
Yeah, that's actually
Like,
pretty cool.
Like you can see, and then I usually compare it also with like Saint Petersburg or Moscow, just to see like what's happening around us, or like Helsinki, just what's the difference. So interesting. So that's how I spend my free time, just looking at how this thing works. I spent a lot of time looking at this.
Maybe you should have studied like geography or something like
Oh no,
nature science.
no,
No, thank you.
But to finish the topic of nuclear desalination. So there are two types of desalination. So there's this boiling analog of process, and then there is reverse osmosis. So osmosis is similar to what happens in our bodies for filtering out and stabilizing various like salts, like calcium and potassium, to like have like good nerve function. I think the blood and the blood vessel and the skin cell like membrane, I think it permeates some amount of these ions to like stabilize the correct concentration of it, and it's kind of like similar membrane as far as like I understand is used to filter out like salt water, and the salt goes through the membrane, and that's why it's called like reverse osmosis. But it's more difficult like to scale that process, and it's also more expensive.
Okay,
But
so the question is, how do they stimulate the transition through the membrane?
Yeah, that's a good question. So reverse osmosis water desalination, a very specific topic.
Yes.
Well, it's basically.
Can we check how many clicks like this type of search has?
I don't know, but we could check that if we could.
This exact combination of words. How many searches per day?
We could in Google Trends, but then we'll also go away from the topic.
Okay.
So basically, we have a ring filter, we have a feed tank, ultrafiltration. I guess that's ultraviolet. Filtrate tank, cartridges. I think these things are spinning. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But that's where the happens, and then it separates into the concentrate and the permeate.
Okay,
But-
this is a bit too complex for me.
It's also too complex for me. But I saw some videos, and here's like we have a lot of. Here it is, just about the membrane. Here it is,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Pressure.
Pressure.
So yeah, but what like constitutes the pressure?
I think
Is it the heat? I'm just like
yeah,
I'm
maybe.
thinking
Oh.
I can understand the desalination process through the evaporation because it's quite simple, but I think I'm guessing like
Here it looks like
yeah,
this.
I'm guessing like the nuclear part is also meant for heating.
Yeah, the nuclear
Probably.
part is differently. So there are two options. You can use nuclear for this reverse osmosis and the regular desalination. But in case of nuclear, it will be just used for energy. But for generating electricity to run this desalination plant. But there's the other option where you have a nuclear plant and it does two in one. So it does energy generation and desalination, all built into the single reactor. And there exists like those. But of course,
How very eco-friendly.
well, I think it is pretty eco-friendly. Just it has like a bad reputation. You know, like similar like in Germany, they had tons of nuclear reactors, and they got scared because of Fukushima.
Yeah.
They decommissioned it, and then they got addicted to the Russian gas and oil.
Yeah.
And if they will have stick with their nuclear reactors, we might have a better like situation right now.
Yeah, I think I
So
heard because like I was had this discussion with my girlfriend. She tried to explain to me that nuclear energy is actually quite green and quite safe. And my proposition was like, okay, it's safe until that one catastrophic thing happens, which makes it so like
yeah.
it's not exactly volatile, but it's sort of like this. I think Nassim Taleb had this black swan definition. Like
Mm.
it's an occurrence which is so very rare, but so catastrophic that it like can change the course of like history and like our daily lives, which was like Fukushima, which was like Chernobyl, but still like she had a point. It is quite green and quite safe. I don't know like anything much about it,
No,
but
it makes sense. Also, like Fukushima, they're still pumping the water out of there. Like
yeah, oh
it's
yeah,
still happening. But like Fukushima, after experiencing that, it makes sense why the Germans decided to ditch it. They don't want to be in a situation where they're constantly pumping out radioactive water into the ocean.
yeah.
Like they're still doing that. The Japanese are still doing that, so that's horrible.
So, but yeah,
Uh,
like in hindsight, I'm guessing they probably also imagined this, but like Japan is one of the most active, seismically active islands. It's like not occasionally, but actually quite oftenly, they have like hurricanes, they have like earthquakes, and I think the Fukushima was built on an active line of like
mhm.
earthquake danger, let's call it that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Of course, like here we won't have earthquakes here in Latvia, and
We need a nuclear power plant.
I think it wouldn't hurt. I think that it might do less damage to nature than a hydroelectric. Like hydroelectric does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Oh.
Well,
I'm because I'm like
well,
so unstudied in
well,
this.
it doesn't anymore. But it's when you build a dam,
Yeah.
it floods the area,
Yeah.
so it destroys the habitat. It destroys the natural scenery.
Yeah. Staboraks.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
especially bad for small hydroelectrics. Like at the beginning of River Gauja, it's near to Tauron, and that part,
Yeah.
like, and they've built a lot of small hydroelectric plants, and that's why you can't do boating there. They don't generate any real electricity. They destroy the fish. They destroy the wildlife. They destroy the scenery,
Mm-hmm.
and
That makes sense. Yeah.
and they're getting paid from our taxes because of green, but they're actually destroying nature to get that green.
So do you know like do they make nuclear weapons from the nuclear waste? Because I had like I heard this like other counter opposing view of nuclear reactors, because nuclear energy generates more nuclear weaponry. Like I don't know if there's only correlation or if there's like direct causality to that.
You know, I have a good point about this is that I know that Iran has nuclear power plants and they're allowed to have them,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not allowed to have nuclear weapons. And I think US allowed to have them regular power plants.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe they don't have power plants, but I think it wasn't related.
This could be like a topic for some other time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think in the podcast, I also like last time, I think we cannot like try to get like through every topic. We can just use like topics as like a stepping
As jumping points.
yeah, and then just
yeah,
go
yeah.
wherever. I think because I was thinking last time the idea of me trying to complete every single topic, it just ruins kind of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
conversation.
It feels a bit
Like-
rushed.
Yeah, and also there's no point to it. Like if you are like in a news organization, you have to read through every story, but we don't care about that. So-
Maybe we couldn't be news.
Oh, you're gonna get banned then because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like illegal to have like news. But anyway, so one of my not biggest, but one of like good life goals is I want to go visit this place. I think it would be pretty interesting
Yeah.
because like
That'll be cool, yeah.
because I was like here, I was like here. I'm like okay, I can go like
You're
here.
jumping around Africa.
Because I think it's when you travel somewhere. At least it's a different for people, but I like kind of to explore some place. Like even in Latvia, I usually go like, for example, let's say I would go like visit here, then I would kind of go visit there, kind of like have like some kind of a path. I don't know.
Have you read about this? Like, I think when we went to what was it, Ruaya? Remember? Like
No, it was
a
here.
couple of months ago, I think it was. Yeah, and there was like this tabloid that said like this point intersects the route something something, which is like it starts. I think it started like somewhere in Spain and it goes right up to Tallinn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be like Juurtaka.
But like I
Baltic
don't think I
trains.
would be able to do it ever, like in my life. Not this Latvia position, but the whole thing. You know?
Yeah.
It's just too long.
But maybe it can be like a lifelong marathon or a 10-year marathon. Like you can do it in segments.
No, maybe. No, it's interesting.
I think this part is pretty doable. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you like read about this? There's this Reddit post, the Battle of Ruhnu Island, and like there's between Latvians and Estonians.
It was in the Google Pixel, Reddit Pixel, Reddit.
I don't remember which, but I think you can find it in Reddit Ruhnu Island, and like the posts are so the Ruhnu var. It's like it's so funny. This is like something that our listeners, if there are any for this episode, like they can check out because like the comments and like.
So this
like,
is not real.
It's not real, but it's like it's pretty hilarious.
I think it was like basically I don't do that whole thing. It is like the Reddit Pixel thing, like or how it was called, Reddit Pixel game.
Where like there's this huge canvas and people can have limited time to change something in the canvas.
I used to participate. I think it's fun. It's just like this year I did not participate. I think I have participated other years, and I just wanted to read some like news on Reddit, and instead everything was spammed about this. But it's okay. I'm not mad about it. But on the Latvian Reddit, the half of the Reddit was stop taking the Ruhnu Island, leave it to Estonia, and it's half of the posts about it. You know, like we have other things to discuss, like the war, for example, not only having the Ruhnu Island. But and what happens? Do you think Estonians will get like upset as a nation because some Latvian trolls like to take their pixel? Like, do you think that will be a diplomatic conflict between the countries?
But like, I think that's the joke because it won't be because that's the joke. And there were like these huge battle plans, like Latvia can invade from east and to west, and
maybe then I didn't get the joke.
Because that's the joke, because they won't be mad. Like, who cares?
Yeah, because also there's nothing there really. It's not worth it. But because there are some like grandpas who say we should take the island. It deserves for us. My grandpa.
Latvia needs an island.
Yeah, we need island. Like
what did we have? We had Tobago for a while,
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually a shame that a lot of those colonies were abandoned, because circling back to that island that I want to visit, it's actually a Portuguese island, so it doesn't. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. Like this island, it was uninhabited. Nobody lived there. The Portuguese came, they settled there, but in the late 90s, a bit late 20th century, there was all this movement. Oh, people have to be free. Everybody has to have their own country, which is good because we got our country. So that's great. But these guys, they never really had any like identity. They're just Portuguese people.
Yeah.
But during like hundreds of years, they kind of lived in isolation. So they decided, oh, we'll do our own thing. We'll be Cabo Verde. But it actually is bad for them because they're very poor, and Portuguese is always helping them. And
wait, the Portuguese are very poor? Or
no, these Cabo Verde people, very poor. But they talk in Portuguese.
So like, what is like their GDP? Like I'm interested. What's their export? Do they have like infrastructure? Do they have fishing villages?
Yeah, they have a lot of fishing.
Like,
they're actually not that bad. You know, it's relatively safe. You can travel there. You won't get like killed. They have a tourism industry and stuff like that. They're one of the better like African countries. But okay, so but my point was that they should have stayed with the Portuguese, because they would have been much better developed.
Oh, so excuse me, they're like
They left.
independent?
Yeah, that's the thing. They left Portugal, but the thing is that it doesn't make any sense to me. They should have stayed as part of Portugal. They would all be in a better situation.
Hmm.
They had better education, better work options, better investment options. So I think it was one of those places where they left the colonial countries without a good reason. Because the island was uninhibited before, it wasn't as if they got occupied. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
It didn't have like
No,
the
there-
traditional
There was
national
nobody
people
there. Like
who were oppressed and
No.
who were
So-
slaves. What do you have some slave trade here?
that's because it was through the Africa. Yeah.
Oh,
So it was a port for slave
okay,
trade.
yeah,
So it was
like a pit stop.
Yeah, pit stop. But yeah, because because I want to
GDP.
go there, I'm like thinking they should have stayed with Portuguese. It would be in a better place.
Yeah, probably.
But they're not doing that bad because they're mostly like only the Portuguese people live there. They're just not
I mean,
officially.
you
part.
can still visit it.
No, I think I will, but I would better if it has like a better because I'm very afraid kind of to go to the African countries, I guess. But this is a very they should put this on their tourism page. So we're doing good. Like we're in the top % of the African continents. And so on.
Okay.
But it's actually
Top 2%
freedom of
in
the
world.
press, first place in Africa. Well, that's a good. thing
Well,
to-
Africa is pretty huge, to be honest, and that's at least some sort of milestone.
No, it's very good.
Corruption
I think it's a
Perceptions
really
Index.
great.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, another good country in Africa turns out to be Botswana. Like I didn't know about it, but it's also kind of good for tourism. But but the reason I wouldn't like to travel there, like I like to pick places where you can go like solo hiking,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why islands are very good because they don't have tigers and snakes and stuff
Yeah.
like that because they never got there. But like here in Botswana, you're going to get a lot of crazy stuff.
lot of crazy stuff.
Also, here in like Malaysia, Vietnam, they have the tigers. They have a lot of snakes.
Monkeys probably
monkeys,
also.
they're gonna
Monkeys
rip your
can
eyes
be-
out.
Yeah, they can.
So yeah,
I think chimpanzees are very strong.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah. Okay, so we're still on the first topic, but that's okay.
We can like sort of graze another topic.
Yeah, and then we can.
So which one did you like from these topics? Which one was your favorite? We can. Which isn't desalination, but like.
Let's take a look. This is pretty interesting thing. You know how there was this big battle for Kiev, and I was wondering, I want to Google something about this battle, and then I looked. Which battle do you mean? The one in 2022? Oh, you mean the one in 1898? I'm like, okay. So this is not the first battle of Kiev.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Oh,
So
that's-
there were sacks and there were sieges.
This is a pretty crazy history for the city. I'm like, you guys saw the tough history. You had a lot of battles for Kiev. Because you can see there's one in 41, and then there's one in 43. Of course, Riga also had that, but then you also have in World War One, in the 19th century. In the 18th century.
I'm wondering right now what would Wikipedia say if you wrote Battle of Riga?
Yeah, I also wanted to check, but I don't think, I'm not sure whether it exists.
Battle of Riga.
Was Riga like a central battle?
Oh, they have a Wikipedia page. Okay, there.
Oh, we have only
Have
4.
some.
Well, that's good. That's good. We
Riga
have-
Offensive, 1944.
Interesting. In World War II, it wasn't a big battle. It looks like. I think it's because of the front line.
Hmm.
You can kind of skip Riga and just ignore it, I guess.
Yeah,
So-
because I'm just wondering, is it like a major port or was there major trade going
I think
through
in
it?
World War One, the front line advanced much more slowly, and that's
Yeah.
why it was important to hold and take
Oh
Riga.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in World War II, it advanced more quickly, so they just skipped it, and then you can just surround it, and they probably.
Because
get
I'm
it.
thinking the main, the straight line towards Moscow and Germany went through either Ukraine or either Belarus. So the Baltic states were sort of like a appendix which could be ignored. I'm guessing, and they had like the northern front line, which was with Finland, and I think I sometimes on one of my like Google Map checks I sort of traveled through Finland and I was watching the Finland-Russian border, and there's like this town which has like these remnants of World War II, which are like huge submarine, like huge former Nazi submarine like hangars and bunkers, and now it's like a sort of trading village, which I think it had metallurgy, and the Russian border is so close that like this Finland town is constantly trading with the Russians. And now they're having like I'm guessing they're having like some difficulties because of the war and like
The World War II was crazy. Like, imagine how much things they built in such a short period of time.
yeah.
That's insane. Like, the Germans, they really had like a lot of energy.
Oh, type in like sort of the former Nazi submarine hangars or submarine. How can you say naval hangars? Oh, because I'm guessing like there are a lot of them.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, they had these huge complexes for naval warfare because they had like naval warfare was somewhat advanced, and that was like one of the technological advancements, because now we have like submarines that can carry nuclear weapons, and it's one of the like modes how you can launch nuclear weapons. And they have like these secret submarine bases inside like cliffs and yeah, I'm guessing they had a lot of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can have like a TV show about the Nazi technology, and it's like multiple seasons, but they only existed for like 10 years, right? They did so much stuff in just a short period of time.
Before 38. I should. I'm guessing I should read Mein Kampf at some point in my life because I'm interested in that whole era. But was it like when did Nazi start? It wasn't in 39. The World War II started at 39.
No, I think it's like 10 years around that.
Nazi Germany.
Yeah, it's around that.
33. Yeah, and until 43. Yeah, pretty much like 10 to 12 years. I mean, you can do a lot of 10 to 12 years if you have like the manpower and you have like this crazy drugged up drive and you have this like
Yeah.
you have like this crazy Führer who's like hopped up on like he was on amphetamines like almost the whole time.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Let's pick one like fast, fun topic.
Black hole pick. We can maybe check that one out if you want.
Sure, let's check that. Feast your eyes on the first mighty image of the black hole at the center of our Milky Way. Okay, let's check this. Well,
okay, that's like the black hole or a black hole?
I think it's the black hole at the center of our galaxy.
Wow, look at that zoom.
That's more than 100 zoom. It's like as far as that's how CSI zoom, or what was it like?
Whoa.
CSI Miami zoom. There it is. The black hole.
That's the black hole.
But it's fake colors.
It's fake. No, it's okay. I'll accept that. I mean...
No, sure, but it's not like real colors. It's the colors don't mean like visible light. Oh. Well,
no, it's just probably the colors are there to differentiate like different parts. and sort of to get that feeling of the zoom.
Yeah, this must be like the most profound, important thing that we might see.
But okay, the colors are fake, but I'm guessing the zoom is real. Like it can actually zoom that far, that close.
Yeah, but not continuously. Yeah.
No,
Sure.
it's probably like
Multiple images.
Multiple images, yeah.
Mhm.
But still, I'm guessing it's like one telescope. It's one like this huge thing.
Imagine it's just a new iPhone. You can zoom at the center of the galaxy, black hole. Just check this out. That's some real alien technology. That would be great.
You know, like the technology we have right now in our pockets, it was a dream a couple of years ago. This is sort of a joke that you're making, but it probably will be possible. And when it is possible, it will be like kind of like
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, because like my phone can do like the moon, like it has the moon picture, so it can actually shoot these pictures.
Wow.
I've actually taken these pictures. It just when you zoom into the moon, it goes into a different mode,
Mm-hmm.
and then it does a different exposure, and you can see like the potholes and stuff like that.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
I would like to see that.
I can show you sometimes the zoom, but it's hard to get the whole moon in, so it usually ends up like this, the pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy. But it's not as far as the center of our galaxy, sadly.
Yeah. Still. well, still a milestone though. Still a milestone. So, do you think we could maybe wrap this up?
Yeah.